and the institutions they represent. This program is brought to you by Aditech TV and Naiwave Studios. I am your host, Gordon Oduor. Gentlemen, karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Do you mind introducing yourselves?
I don't mind.
Yes.
I'm Pastor Nashon Owaga Uthuro of the Ministry of Reconciliation, located in Kabiria.
All right. Karibu sana, Pasi.
Thank you.
It's a blessing to be here, Sir Gordon. Thank you for also inviting us. My name is Bishop Dr. Isaac Idambo, the lead pastor of a church called the Gate of Holiness Worship Center Church, Nairobi. We are along Gong Road, and I'm also the director of an institution called Daraja Uongozi that gives skills to young people and also the community members.
All right, thank you so much. As you can see, our bench is composed of very prominent and professionals, and we appreciate you for your coming. Now, looking at what has been happening in the country, especially yesterday, I hope most of you are privy to the information, and you've seen a lot of unrest amongst young people. What exactly is happening in our country, Pastor Nashon?
What is happening in our country is absurd. It is not pleasing at all. And I want to say that it is an axis of evil, or it is evil that is taking root in our country.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want just to give it a physical eye, but I want to also look at it with the spiritual lenses.
All right. Yeah. Bishop, what do you take of the events that have occurred in the past, is it 2 weeks or a week?
I want to really believe the way it looks like. There is a shift in leadership, meaning that the cohesiveness between the old and new is not coming up clearly. So the young people and the old people, in terms of leadership, in terms of perspectiveness, is missing. So everybody is trying to find spaces instead of listening to one another and also projecting the ideas in a harmonious way. That is exactly what is missing.
Which is quite unfortunate.
Yes.
Now, looking at what's happening amongst the young people, and it's like the young people are fighting against vices that they feel really doesn't augur well with them. It's like they're fighting for justice, they're fighting for freedoms, And all this while, we've seen the church hasn't voiced out on anything. What's really happening? Why haven't we seen any press statement from the church with regards to what's happening?
You see, the church historically has been leading way forward. Even before and after the independence. And to bring her to speed, we can easily look at in 90s, where the church led in terms of mobilization and bringing to attention the importance of leadership. In 2008, when we had those particular eruptions of difference after election, the church was there. When we came to 2010, in matter of constitution, the church was there. So we can easily say that the church has played a pivotal role to a certain level. But now, where we are right now, if I can reflect on the yesterday's happening, the church has not been vocal as per se, but I want to believe we are now internalizing on how we can easily approach. But also, the sensitivity of a matter cannot also be led by a church. A church should come and galvanize the happenings. Otherwise, if we are able to forerun, we may miss a mark. Yeah, so we cannot easily say that we are not silent upon it. We are only internalizing what is happening, and then thereafter,
But Bishop, don't you think already there's a lot of distractions that are happening, and as we can see, if this continues, then it will bring a state of anarchy, and the church plays a very pivotal role as far as creating, bringing about a sense of calm and peace is concerned, is it that the church is waiting for issues to escalate, or
Not really, because even right now, from the small sittings that we do, because you see, when we talk about a church speaking, either we need the media house, we need to approach in the media house, we need to be in the newspaper speaking. But in the little settings of the church, I want to believe that something has been happening, especially if I can say on the pulpit. If you've been very, very observant and also following the media fraternity, you will realize that there is a lot that has been spoken through the pastoral ministries and also the pastoral services. So I want to believe the coming together we've not done. And for sure, it's not that we are either waiting for something to happen, but I pray that after this one has happened, after this particular interrogation, we can be able to sound it. But the silence also is also alarming.
it's alarming?
It's alarming.
Now, Pastor Nation,
Yes.
these are our sons and daughters on the streets, and I believe at one point they were in Sunday schools, brought up with Christian doctrines. Where did they lose the mark, and where, in your own opinion, do you think they lost it?
In my own opinion, to say, I don't want to separate them from us, but I want to say that where we lost it as a church and the leadership of the church and our young men, we lost it when it happened like we were not putting more emphasis. You will agree, even Bishop will agree with me to a certain point. We were not putting some more emphasis on, let's say, Sunday school. What do I mean when I say this? You find that a church can set up a Sunday school without proper teachers. Yeah, you will find that a Sunday school, people think that it was just for young girls and young boys. So without proper knowledge and the importance of Sunday school, I believe the church failed. Yeah, they failed in this sense. Let me put it this way. For example, you can find in a church, Sunday school, they are released to go to their classes. Then you find that 1 year old, 2 year old, 9 year old, a 14 year old, and maybe 17 year old, they are put together. So you find that at the end, learning will not be achieved for different stages. Yeah. So again, maybe the leadership, I can say the leadership of our churches, even let me be included. We failed also even to train Sunday school teachers. So I want to believe that in failing to train proper teachers for Sunday school, you find that now we usher into the community young people who are not conversant with the Word of God and some basic life. How can I put it?
All right. Now you've talked of something very fundamental about learning.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that in some of these things they do happen because nowadays, if you look at the current church per se, and sorry, I'm not victimizing churches, but we just bring a conversation. You realize that the real conversations that are supposed to be taught either in how do you call it, youth service or even children's service, some of the fundamental issues are not being taught or are not being addressed. For instance, we are creating, churches have brought themselves into a picture whereby they are holier than thou grounds, where they shy away from serious issues that these young people ought to be told and ought to have known. Do you think this has also formed part and parcel of what we are seeing right now?
Can Bishop respond to that?
Yes, Bishop.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. A family
Yes.
is the baseline for any nation. As much as we are also reflecting on what should be taught in churches, family should take responsibility. But it's so painful, Sir Gordon, to let you know that we are now living in a transitional period whereby we are having more of single parents leading families. And I'm not putting anyone on spotlight, but what I just want to tell you is this. There are elements that a son will miss when he is being only led by the mother. And there are also elements that a son will miss when the mother is absent. So you will easily understand that the level where we are, we can easily say that the father-mother element is missing somewhere. And to let us know that if nothing is rectified as soon as it is by now, we are not going to have, number one, we are not going to have ethical men who are going to stand for ethics and also bring out other men. So that is where the problem starts from, family. So now when we upgrade ourselves to the church now, the church is also having a challenge. Why? Because we no longer have the people who are called to serve, but we are having people who have called themselves to serve. So there are key elements of which they are looking at. There are some interest on their side. Either it can be an interest of finance, it can be interest of self-ego, or something of that. But formerly, when we were taught, we had people who are called by God to bring out proper leadership. And that's why we never had such kind of upheavals. So how I pray that the church itself, we shall streamline ourselves to know who is called to serve. And then any other person should be under leadership. You see, if I am a bishop, I need to be under a presiding bishop, a person who can easily correct me. But you see, if there's nobody who is correcting me as a pastor, I will not be able to correct even the little ones because they are on their own. So this particular generation gap that is happening right now, Sir Gordon, it is an indication that the family foundation is very, very weak. The ethics are not being taught. And then where we are, now children no longer belongs to the family, to the community. Children belong to individuals. So you cannot pinpoint my son. Why? Because he is my son. He is my daughter. But sometimes I, with my pastor nation, we can remember that the ethics we have to, if an error was made, you were corrected by the community. But right now, that is my son. That is my daughter. That's where the problem is.
Now, you've brought an interesting conversation about the family fabrics and also the issue of calling to serve. And in the family fabric, you mentioned that some of these cases, they arise because most of these kids are brought up by single parents. But now, one thing also we also need to affirm is that the same families are the ones who are part and parcel of your ministries.
Exactly.
What are you doing within your ministry to be able to also cultivate a culture within families that they can also transplant to their children so that we can avoid some of what we are seeing right now?
The element of single parent should never be used. The element is that you are a parent. You take full responsibility. Because when we say single, then we are now bringing in a very ill statement. A parent is a parent. Either you are a single or you are in a setting of both of you. So if you are in a setting of a single parenthood, please take a responsibility of being a father and also a mother. Be a mother and also be a father. So you need to put on those particular fabrics the way to your son. You need to put on those responsibilities. At times you need, the grace shall be sufficient on that. That is the only way we can easily solve this particular issue here, sir.
All right. And you also mentioned about calling to serve. Now, those are times the government tried regulating the number of, they came up with a bill and a proposal to try and regulate the number of churches and, that ought to exist, and also bring stringent measures to ensure that those who are those who are preaching the word are people who are really, really called and have got all the necessary qualifications to do that. But there were some sort of dissenting voices amongst some churches and some church leaders claiming that the government was now targeting churches and government is now acting anti-Christianity. What do you make of that?
Responsibility is very important. You see, the research that was given, it was good that the government had an opportunity to go and know what is really happening. And it was brought to the president and is waiting ascension or something of that. You see, we cannot run away from responsibility, whereby you want to do things against the law and also against the ethics of the community. Regulation, it doesn't mean that the government shall pin us to the wall, whereby everything should be regulated by it. But we should need to have what we call self-regulatory. Because we are called and we are serving God, we should have self-governing ethics of ministry. So, you see, the government is really bringing it down to us very clearly that if you are now Bishop Isaac, you are now of Gate of Holiness. Now, who is the lead pastor? And if I want to open a church, then I should be under somebody so that in case of anything, he's either able to speak on my behalf or he's able to do what? I'm able to be accountable. So what is missing right now is accountability. Everybody wants to run his own way of life, and that one becomes very critical.
Yeah, Pastor Nation, what do you make of this?
There is somewhere that a point that I also wanted to contribute in about our young people and the way they are now. Another thing that can contribute to now what we are seeing around us in the society, not necessarily about, let's say, we cannot put it on single parenthood only. I believe Bishop have explained that well. Another thing is that we have also, as parents, because a pastor is a parent. Those who are in church, they are parents. So we have also left our role as parents, and we have left it to the teachers in school. You see, so you see, we are much into our careers until we have got no time with our sons and daughters. Yeah, and this, I believe, have also contributed now to indiscipline that we have, because now you take your son or your daughter to the teachers. The teachers do what they can, and also there is legislation that a teacher cannot punish a child. No. Now, when they come back to us home, we are also we don't have time that enough time to discipline them, also to guide them on matters or good morals. You see, yeah. So we also, as parents, we have failed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you agree with me that during the COVID era, that's where a majority of churches lost young people, and that's where some of these, hooligan. Let me use the bad term, hooliganism, developed into our young people. Do you think that, COVID period might have also contributed much to this? Yes, Bishop.
Other way around now.
Yes, sure.
The COVID-19 was a moment of family together. I want to believe those were the times whereby we learned and knew who are we with, because the schools were not there and churches were not there. But a few families came to terms to know this is my father, this is my children. But also, likewise, I can easily agree with the same, that the idleness that was there led us to where we are. Because my brother is saying the responsibility were with the teachers. Now the children are no longer going to the teachers.
Interesting.
So they are with us, and we do not have now the authority. Now leave alone the moral. We don't have now authority because the authority was given to somebody else. Now this somebody else is no longer in operation. So we are now handing over to us, and we do not know how the other authority was operating. So I can easily agree with you. The diversion of way of life and morality, we lost it, particularly there, because it was like a 2-year span of suffering and agony, on and off. And media got the high ranking because everybody now could be on the media. From the media high way of life, we never know what was implanted. But you see, the exposure at which our children were exposed to media during those particular season and times can also be the reason why we are today.
All right.
Yeah.
Just to proceed with our conversation, the church has a special place in our society, of course, and that's why they're really entrusted institutions. And looking at some of the democratic institutions that exist, some of them are independent institutions like the EACC. Over the past period of time, they've been run by church leaders, ex-church leaders, like the Wabukala, the emeritus Bishop Mabukala, and currently now we have Bishop Oginde. Showing the trust that is there.
Exactly.
But we still have issues with corruption in our nation, whereby, every day the auditor gives a report that a lot of money is being lost, a lot of wastage are taking place, yet there's no serious action that is being taken. Don't you think, what are we missing? What are we missing, Bishop?
Is finishing line. Finishing is the problem. Even if you've got a very powerful, perfect team on ground, football team, and then those who are now, we call them what? Those who scores. If they are not able to score, even if the background and the middle is good, the finishing line makes the whole managing successful. My leaders have always spoken of toothless laws of persecution, if I can say persecution, meaning that if we can give, if somebody has wronged, somebody has been found with corruption cases, if he's taken to the courts, then the courts should do the due diligence to make sure that this one is finished, is executed. But you see, however hard you are able, even if I am the right bishop and I am running this particular organization, sir, when I hand over my case, it should go to another level, and then the finished. So the finishing line is what is killing us. It's not that the leaders who are there, they are spiritual and they are not doing what they do. I want to believe, but the finishing line is poor. It's poor.
Right.
That's
now, talking about finishing line,
yes.
Maybe some viewers who maybe cannot dissect or digest the finishing line. What exactly do you mean by the finishing line?
With the finishing line, I mean, I have a case of corruption. The apparatus used to know the error have done its work. When it goes to the courts, let the courts do its work. And then information should be brought to the public that Bishop Isaac was found with an error. This is what was taken and is in for this and this. That is the finishing line. But when I am implicated, it seems that the other apparatus have taken charge. We never hear what really happened. So there should be a clear information. This is what we did and this is where we are. That's what I mean by finishing line.
Pastor, do you mind wading into this conversation and by giving us your thoughts on why is it that we having religious leaders at the helm of these institutions, yet we still don't get, reports,
I want to say that even if we will have angels manning those leadership positions, without the goodwill of the leaders, or the goodwill of the government, we will go nowhere. Because leaders themselves are not honest. If you look at them, they lack integrity. So if they themselves that are putting these people in place,
sure,
they are not honest. They don't have integrity. Do you think they will implement what has been decided by these leaders that we have at the helm?
Sometimes it becomes difficult.
It will become difficult. So that is my take on that. Yeah.
Now, over the past few days or weeks or even months and years, we've seen religious leaders making their way to State House, and this is something that also brought a lot of conversations online and on mainstream media. And people are asking themselves, like, they keep making their ways there in the guise of, trying to advise the president per se. But we still keep seeing the same things, mismanagement, corruption, abuse of human rights, and all other negative vices that comes with it. What exactly is, the role of the church with regards to probably the presidency as an institution? Because they keep making their ways to State House. What exactly is going on? In your opinion?
My opinion, let me begin it this way. If we take the scriptures as our blueprint now, regarding to that, you will find that there was a time in the life of the Israelites, and I'm speaking about the northern kingdom, Israel. And it came a point whereby they were sent a religious leader,
Sure,
by the name Amos. And Amos went there. You will find that Amos did not speak about the gods that they had, but Amos pinpointed about justice, corruption, and more social injustices. Because even normal people, they were swindling one another. Yeah, so you find that this was a servant of God, and he spoke that truth. Now, God is not saying this, God is not speaking on you people not worshiping me, but he's speaking about the ills in the society. So what am I trying to say? Some of our leaders, let me use the word some of our leaders who goes there, I doubt whether they have got this, our interest, or they have the interest of the society where we are living in. So maybe they are going there to please the state. Yeah. So you will find it difficult if you are a spiritual leader or you are a church leader and you get,
Pastor, just a question. Why will they please the leaders? For what benefit, in your opinion?
You see, they have been compromised. So, how can I put it?
Whichever way.
You see, they are not bold.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not bold. They are fearful. And this is why they are pleasing these people in authority. Yeah, because they fear that maybe if we pinpoint the ills, if we pinpoint the bad things that they do, maybe it will backfire on them. Maybe they will They will be, how can I put it? Bishop, can you help?
Yes. Let Bishop wade in.
Yes.
Sir, there's no wrong when a servant of God visits the State House. But the intent will mean a lot.
Okay.
The intent why I'm going to the State House, it means a lot.
Exactly.
We can't say all is lost because definitely there are also remnants. And the only issue that pains so much is that idea that one person represents all.
Exactly.
And that is not the truth.
Exactly.
So when one figure is seen, it doesn't mean all of us, we have spoken the same language. So that particular in-between line should be separated.
Exactly.
And it is so hurting because when one of us is seen, we speak, it is the church. No, that one is an individual. Those are an individual. So we should not be mixing up the two, that an individual is speaking on behalf of. You will realize and come to realize that that particular one person is not of all of us. It might be of a section. And the way you are saying, the interest of that section, which is not our section, it may be fulfilled because it is the interest of that particular section, not our interest. So all is not lost. All is not lost, my brother. There is hope because the rot at which the Kenyan community is in, it is heavier than one representing others.
All right.
Yeah.
And also, church being a middleman institution, it's also seen as another avenue or institution that can also help us fight corruption. But what we've seen is we've seen instances whereby the church are quick to receive money from politicians. Let me say, for a good example, there was a time the president visited a church and he donated 20 million. And it also brought about an online uproar where people were saying if that 20 million could have been diverted elsewhere, it could have helped a lot. Do you think with what we are seeing currently, do you think the church is also helping in fighting corruption, or the church is also, pulling towards, the corruption circle?
A president, when he visits my church,
Yes, sure,
is a member who has visited my church. It's only that you are sensing on what he has given on that particular day. But I tell you, there are more people who give more than that in terms of projects.
exactly.
And we have never, ever questioned them. So on my side, it is that when my president has visited me, I speak the word of God according to what the Lord has put on my heart to show him what the Lord desired for my nation. I have done my side. I have done what is.
Yes, but Bishop, what do you make of? We've also seen some scenarios whereby when a deputy president visits a church or a president, the sermon now begins to rotate around the president, and don't you think it also somehow?
Yeah, I can say that it is also dangerous for I to change the sermon of the day because my president has come. I need just to speak what I was to speak because that is what the Lord wanted me to speak. And now the president is a member for that particular day. I will speak what God wanted me to speak. So woe unto any other pastor who will change the sermon to suit the situation. It's not about the situation. It's about what God wants the people and the community to hear on that particular very, very day. So it is sorry if it happens that one of our own changes the sermon to please the day instead of pleasing the spirit. that has given him the congregation.
But again, in most instances, you realize that when such leaders, they visit churches, sorry, like, I'm still sticking to that point a bit. You realize that instead of, because, as a church and as religious leaders, I believe you are the voice of your, of your flock. And your flock are part and parcel of the citizens, who are also facing all manner of challenges. Why is the church finding it hard as religious leaders to be able to address some of these issues in front of, the president, the deputy president, the governor, whosoever in a certain position that has visited? Because what we've seen are just praises, left, right, and center. I mean, what's really...
Two things comes out clearly. Number one is lack of boldness. Number two is, where will my name be? The fame issue. By the way, retreating a little bit on what we had spoken earlier, what we are seeing here, if also we can have the young people having an approach, a different approach apart from what we are having, can really heal us. So what we are riding on right now is fame. Young person goes and faces the police, wants to remove the mask of the police. What is that? Is working on the fame. These young people want to be known, and that is be doing something. But you see, there are different approaches at which we can also approach what is really eating us. Mr. President once called the young people to the status. They said, we are what? We do not have anybody representing us. You see, and that is where the danger becomes. So what I'm just trying to comes in, two things comes up, that if I'm other leadership or higher ranking, it can bring me in. It can bring a dilemma into my speech on that particular day. Number two, now that the president visited my church, what did I say?